All right, so we're back for a Walking Dead comic podcast, issue 184, and I think the title is Eugene Tinkers. But JP here brought up a good point before we started. He's like, man, that was like one page or two. And I was like, yeah, if that's what we're going to label it, why not just call it Princess... I don't want to say the F word, but censor your ears, children. But why not just call it Princess Fucks?
Yeah, that was great. Shoot.
Or Rick Teaches.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on with a lot of characters in this issue. But I mean, it is a pretty big thing Eugene's trying to do.
I was just going to say, but I do understand the significance. Yeah, it's a train. It's really the first step to bringing back like true modern civilization.
Man, would you go on that first train ride?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And a zombie's going to stop that bad boy and just plow right through a herd. I mean, I'm sure if there was enough, you probably could. But before we get to going, how rude of me, let me introduce us. If you're new to the channel, I'm Justin.
Oh, and I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead. Obviously, from the name, a lot of our content is Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead content, but we do some other stuff every now and again. We are into more than just the Walking Dead.
Every now and then.
Like knitting. JP is an excellent knitter.
Yeah. I made a lovely oven mitt just last night.
Yeah, he made me a really cool oven mitt for Christmas the other year, and I promise I use it. Wink.
Yeah, I'm just trying to protect your fingers, pal.
Why there's penguins on it, I'm not sure, but...
I thought that was your favorite animal, but maybe I was wrong.
But so issue 184, and may I say, I haven't gotten mine yet. I've got the variants for like the last 5 issues, but this one didn't come in. I'm going to have to go up the road to get it. But man, and I know they're not super rare or anything.
No,
but
you've been getting all the portrait variants, right? Yeah.
The portrait variant for this issue was Princess, and might I say, it's awesome. Next month is going to be Jesus, and that's probably the coolest one I've seen.
Yeah.
But Princesses was pretty cool too, so definitely want to get that. But I love them. I know they're not super rare, probably won't be worth anything in the future, but I just... those are my favorite variants of all the comics I own. I just think they're so awesome, man. They're like
beautiful,
true works of art. But let's get into this issue. A lot happening on this issue. Definitely very Game of Thrones-ish in the sense of like so many different things happening at one time here. Pamela starting to understand the importance of a leader being out front, present, and proactive, and not just sitting up in her office directing people.
Yeah, when she sees, first off, they come home to a big old mess. Yeah, riot.
Poor Jerome.
Yeah, Jerome.
Poor Jerome. He sacrificed himself for Michonne.
He sure did.
That was really sad, man. Like, what I was really hoping was going to come of that was I was hoping that, when he got on top of her, and he died, right? I mean, Jerome's dead.
They said there's people clinging to life in the hospital.
Yeah,
so I don't know if he's dead or if he's laid up.
Because they had that frame where like his eyes looked rolled back. But you're right, he could just be. I'm sure that's probably no one has a great looking face when they're getting the shit kicked out of them.
That's true.
But of course, if I have to say it beforehand, I feel like I have like spoilers.
Oh right.
I didn't say that beforehand, but if you click on a review and discussion of something, you got to expect spoilers. But you got your spoiler Nazis who will raise hell at you in the comment section if you don't announce it. So spoilers. If you didn't hear this and you get spoiled in the future, don't blame me.
No.
But yeah, so I was really hoping that there was going to be some kind of relationship there between Michonne and Jerome because she saved him, he's now saved her, like literally threw himself on top of her.
Yeah.
To protect her.
It's hard to say what could come of that.
That armor looks pretty tough, but I guess it's no match for boots and nightsticks.
Yeah, I was going to say it might protect you from zombie teeth, but when it comes to, like you said, like blunt objects swung by adults.
And probably because it was so many, what I mean? If it was just like one guy with a nightstick, he probably would have been fine. But the fact that, he had so many people on top of him, ruthlessly beating the crap out of him. But yeah, Michonne definitely, even after all of this, we're seeing she's still really digging the Commonwealth.
Yeah, she loves, getting to see her daughter grow up in a safe place, and now she's kind of moved her up the social ladder, and she even admitted, look, it's messed up the social structure here, but it's better than getting eaten alive and tanks rolling through our gates and all this stuff. So yeah, look, I sold out, Rick. What do you want? I sold out.
She gave a very riveting speech in good lawyer fashion.
She did, man. She wants to maintain that status quo.
I don't know. Maybe I was the only one that thought about this, but have you like the old man that she was, I assume was the judge or whatever his position of authority would be, that she was giving that speech to? I always wonder, like, what are the odds that some of these people were not what they say they are? It's like once they get in after, a little while, they realize, so that's how they do it, whatever you were in the real world. I was a billionaire business owner. That's right. You've heard of Microsoft? Yeah. Bill Gates, that was my dad.
No,
so
fake it till you make it.
I do what I do best. I sit in a lavish room and enjoy the company of beautiful ladies and eat the finest foods. Oh, well, we're glad to have you. Oh, I was a judge. You get to, you don't know law, but you're sitting up there deciding people's fates and making these big decisions. So I've wondered, like, when it showed that old man, I was like, I wonder if he really was whatever he says he was, or if he's like, I was a mechanic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could just be like an old man who watched a lot of Matlock.
A lot of Judge Judy.
Yeah, and just, why not?
I would say those old folks, they love Judge Judy just because my grandparents, whenever I walked in, it was Judge Judy, Judge Joe Mathis, Judge Joe Brown. But I'm not going to lie, I would sit there and watch it and enjoy it fairly well,
yeah,
too.
Man,
so.
I remember when Judge Judy first came on the scene. That was a big deal.
Could you imagine having Judge Judy in this society?
That would have been a great cameo.
Shut your mouth, Michonne. Yeah. Shut your mouth.
I've heard enough.
But yeah, so Michonne, it really, like, kind of just really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just really becoming entrenched in this community now. She wants it to work. I mean, you can't blame her. I mean, it's easy to read this and from an outside perspective be like, oh, she's selling out or whatever. But I mean, think about it. Look at what they've been through. They've been through some traumatic stuff. I mean, Michonne's been raped, beaten. They face psychopath after psychopath in a world full of dead people who want to eat you. They've been on the road. They've thought they were safe, had it destroyed. And now she's found a place where not only her daughter is living, but there is actual civilization. Like, for the first time, probably since all of this happened, she can let her guard down to some extent and sit down and have a coffee with her daughter and go to the library and get a book. And, it probably is starting to feel normal. So it's like, I can't blame her for, trying to make this work.
Hey, she knows what side her bread's buttered on,
Yeah.
Got to respect that.
As long as she don't turn her back on Rick and company, I don't. And, let's talk about, now kind of jump into the end here, but let's talk about Rick and Dwight, man. They have had in the last couple years, they have really had their moments where they just get at each other's throat. I mean, we've had Dwight snapping on Rick. We've had Rick snapping on Dwight. There really seems to be a coming conflict between Rick and Dwight.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like Dwight said, at first he was trying to shy away from leadership, and now he's all about, like, insurrection.
Right.
He wants to take over, like, the biggest community possibly, like, on Earth. I mean...
And I get kind of where Rick's coming from. He's like, dude, just stop. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a big thing. You're talking about starting a war with someone with much larger numbers than
at a place you just got to.
Yeah.
You've been here like a day. And, I get that I get that there are issues, but, it's kind of like a lead by example, lead by action scenario that we're facing here at the end. You've got Dwight, who just wants to come in and start an insurrection and, like, free these people. But then you've got Rick, who's taking the high road, and rather than just come in and straight up criticize or start a revolution, he's showing Pamela, like, hey, as a leader, you're out here and you help people. You show people the way, and they'll appreciate you and blah, blah, blah. And Pamela's actually fallen in line. Now, her douchebag son is not. He's just like the guy we all want to beat up. But, she's realizing. And so Rick could be spurring a positive change through no violence at all, just leading by example, showing Pamela, hey, if you want to, be an effective leader, if you want to be respected, if you want to, have people that, listen to you because they respect you. You've got to get out there and get your hands dirty alongside them. And she seems to at first she's like, what are you doing? We have people for that. And Rick's like, well, where I come from, we all pitch in. I literally gave a hand for this.
Yeah, I think Pamela also sees the positive, like, PR aspects of it. I mean, she is a politician. She understands that you need that good image that comes with doing stuff like that.
Photo op.
But yeah, Dwight. I think Rick's much more of like a prime directive kind of guy. Like in Star Trek, you have the prime directive. No, you don't interfere in other cultures, and you don't just take stuff over. But
right,
Dwight's just like, man, screw all that. Let's.
And you got to look at the two different situations too, man. I mean, Dwight survived for so long under a tyrannic ruler. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Rick, squared off against him, and Negan tried to run him. But unlike the show in the comics, Rick didn't roll over for so long. You know what I mean? In the show, Rick genuinely was scared, shaken, just like, I'm not in charge anymore. Negan is. Whereas in the comic, you find out Rick's like, after an issue or two, Rick's like, no, we're gonna kill these bastards. I need everyone to fall in line to believe it, so that Negan doesn't catch wind of what's going on. I need this to be a complete surprise. So Dwight has survived under tyrannic rule for so long and seen the dangers of it and seen what happens when a person or a small group of people get this position of just absolute dictatorship. So, I mean, it's good, in my opinion, it's good, right? Because I can understand where Dwight's coming from. Dwight's kind of been there, a much more extreme case. They're not bashing people's brains in with baseball bats on the streets. But, Dwight's seen it firsthand. He's been there, and he's like, man, nobody should live like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely got it a lot better at the Commonwealth than they did at the Sanctuary, that's for sure. Nobody getting their face melted off, even though Lance is kind of like a pussyfied kind of Negan, just because, women are like objects to him, and, everyone needs to kowtow. But
women are objects to Negan, but Negan respects women in the sense of Negan. That's one thing I loved about Negan was his extreme prejudice to rape. Yeah. How like, yeah, he loved to get him some women, and he was a perverted, whatever. But at the same time, man, you do not rape women. You have consensual sex, or in Negan's case, you intimidate them until they say yes.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very fine line he's treading. He's like, it's fine to coerce women into having sex with you, if they want to eat and don't want to like work in a factory all day long. But you can't like overpower them,
right?
It's a gray
line.
Area he lives in. But God bless him. God bless him.
It seems like Robert Kirkman, man. I don't really read all the letters to the editor, but at the end of the last one, or the 183 or 182, it looked like he was saying you're not going to see Negan again, and I would find that to be very disappointing. One of your most interesting characters that, and this is again my opinion. People are always like, I find Negan to be one of the most interesting characters in anything that I'm reading. Mm-hmm. I love Negan. I mean, whenever he's in an issue, it ends up being a great issue. Like, even if it's a slower issue, Negan makes it worthwhile. And you're going to take one of your most interesting characters, but it's Robert Kirkman, so I mean, he could just be saying that to throw you off. And then next thing you know, they're going to hear a pounding at the Commonwealth's door, and it's going to be like, little pig, yeah. Let me in.
Yeah, I mean, and he doesn't even have to be pivotal to everything going on. Just, let's pop in and see what he's up to every now and then.
I mean, I loved the last issue that we saw Negan in with Maggie, where he faced his demons. You know what I mean? He accepted responsibility for what he'd done. He was willing to accept the punishment. I mean, I thought that's still today, that's one of my favorite issues of The Walking Dead.
Was great.
That issue, man, it was just great writing, a culmination of years of storytelling up to this point. I thought it was great. I really did. But I want to see Negan. Now, and Negan probably is best sprinkled in every now and again, not just non-freaking stop, because then it would get old. But, I mean, I want to see Negan at some point.
I still want to see Negan and Maggie get together.
That's not going to happen.
That's just me.
That's not going to happen.
That's just me.
And speaking of getting together, let's talk about Princess.
Oh, that was,
Princess getting hers with Mercer, man. And I love that she told him, she's like, this doesn't have to be serious. It can be casual. I'm cool with casual. And he's like, I don't do casual. She's like, this is awesome.
Right. Probably some of the hottest panels since got to see some Andrea side boob way back in, I can't remember what issue, but anyway.
Yeah, I really like Mercer too, man. Like, I really hope that we get more, we continue, because I mean, he's a badass. I mean, he threw the axe into the dude's nightstick.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thrown axes and knives. That's not easy, man.
That could have went left really, really quick.
Just popped him in the head. Yeah, that's what happens when you riot.
Yeah.
Totally wasn't aiming for the stick.
Yeah.
But go home. But yeah, and Mercer getting him some. Mercer's a pimp, anyways. Though we've already, I think, said he's like a younger pimp, Mr. T.
Yeah,
just a badass. But I hope we get more of Mercer. I want to learn more about him. I want to kind of see him. And you saw he was like grinning when Rick was showing showing Pamela, like when he was cleaning and Pamela was talking or whatever, and then she started cleaning and you saw like that frame of Mercer like grinning. So maybe Rick coming in, showing some peaceful options. Maybe that'll. Because we know Mercer wants a insurrection.
Yeah,
they want to take over.
Doesn't like the way things are going.
So maybe that's him thinking like, hey, maybe we don't have to kill people or wage war. Maybe this will be or he might have just been laughing at seeing her get her hands dirty. But either way,
Yeah, who knows? And I mean, she said she got elected, so maybe elections are coming up.
If I ever end up somewhere like that, I'm so going to be like, oh yeah, I was president. Where are you at?
Yeah.
So I'll take your finest room. I am now the leader. No, with as much turmoil as there is with the current president. So you're Donald Trump.
Yeah, I was going to say politics. Just that's a sticky bed to lay.
No, I would,
and I've laid in plenty of sticky beds.
I'd be like, man, I was in entertainment. So
right.
give me a shortwave radio, and I'll entertain people.
Yeah,
I'll try.
Why not?
I don't know how well they'll like it, but we'll try. But so yeah, I really liked issue 184. I mean, this is one of those comics where it's rare you're going to hear me say that an issue was bad, though. I might be a little, I might be a little. What's the word I'm looking for, JP?
Marinated?
No,
I don't know.
No. Speaking of marinated, I would love a steak right now.
Oh, yeah.
Dry rubs only, though. No, I marinate sometimes, but it's early. Excuse my stretching and yawning here.
It's kind of funny. I was reading some reviews and like IGN's complaining, saying the Walking Dead comic is continuing to drag and drag and drag. I don't think so. I've enjoyed this arc.
Partial. That's what it is. I might be partial to The Walking Dead. Okay. It's hard for them to let me down, but I don't think it's dragging. I mean, this story of surviving in the zombie apocalypse has now been going 184 issues. What do you want? You know what I mean? Do you want it to end? Is that, if you want it to end, then sure. But I mean, I think to keep it going, I don't feel like it's dragging or cannon fodder.
No.
We're getting something we've never gotten before, a civilization that is as close to modern civilization as we've seen thus far, and different implications of modern society versus zombie society. You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing the difference between like Rick's kind of new world versus this world, which isn't much different than the old world. You've still got your elites that, consider themselves to be much higher than, those common folk who they get to come and clean their messes and stuff. So, I mean, I enjoy it. It's not dragging for me.
No, I don't think so either. Some great character development, some great story building.
I was like, man, we're going to get to issue 200 before long, and I think Rick's going to die in issue 200.
Don't tell me that.
But I realized it's only 184. I mean, we got like more than a year before we get to issue 200.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a storm coming.
And I think that's pretty much the majority of it, right? Eugene's going to get a train working. That's pretty damn awesome. Get an actual efficient, safe, and speedy trade route, back and forth between the communities. So, and at first, and it might have been because I was reading it late last night, but when I read it, when he was like, that engine car, I can get that running, I didn't see that it was a train at first. I thought it was like a car, and I'm like, has it been, I know they all ride horses now, has it been that long that they're now like, ooh, that's an old engine car?
Yeah.
It's a combustible engine. It's this, and then I realized, within the next page, oh, he's talking about a train engine car. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, so do we rate these, don't we?
Do we? I don't know. We're usually both so satisfied. I think we both just kind of agree.
Yeah, I don't really see a need to rate this issue. I thought it was a great issue, in my opinion.
I want to see some more nakedness with Princess, and just more nakedness in general. But that's with like everything I take in. But no, great stuff. Great stuff.
Speaking of Image Comics, by the way, side note, there were 2 new releases yesterday in the Image line. I'm talking about Dead Rabbit.
Okay.
It's Dead Rabbit, right? Yeah, Dead Rabbit. I wouldn't say Dead Bunny at first. Dead Rabbit.
I'm sure that would be a good series, too.
Dead Rabbit and what was the other one? Blackbird? Was that what it's called? I didn't pick that one up. What is it called? Hold on. Blackbird, yeah. Blackbird looked very interesting. Not really my cup of tea, so I didn't pick that up. But I did pick up Dead Rabbit. And I'm going to say, if you're looking for something new, and I'm a huge, Image is my favorite titles out right now, for the most part, are Image titles. Dead Rabbit was great. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it accurately, but I really liked it. It's got like, it's kind of like another broken superhero type thing, but not really superhero. It kind of reminded me of Moon Knight in a way. Believe it or not. I mean, there's no multiple personality disorder, but just kind of this rough, like Moon Knight and Rorschach and, just these kind of like chiseled, rough around the edges heroes. They're not flashy. They're just brawlers that really good. So if you're looking for a new title, I would recommend Dead Rabbit. I mean, there is a frame of a guy wiping his ass. I wasn't really my only complaint with the issue, but yeah, check that out if you want something new, especially from Image, Dead Rabbit. And I'll probably buy Blackbird just to have issue 1, and I'll read it. And if I like it, I'll continue. But it just didn't look like my cup of tea. But we will see. But so, yeah, we've got The Walking Dead comes back on television this Sunday.
Yeah,
we're super excited.
Yeah, Sunday's going to be great. The Walking Dead premieres, Doctor Who premieres. It's going to be nice. I mean, I do Amazon Prime, so sadly I have to wait till Monday to watch both. But nonetheless,
yeah, Doctor Who comes back. I didn't even think about that. I bet you're stoked.
Yeah, man, I'm
Walking Dead comes first, JP.
Well,
JP's like, oh well.
I mean, the Doctor Who's been kind of totally new creative team, new Doctor, obviously. So I'm holding.
Interested to see where it'll go. Yeah, it could be good. We'll see. But so The Walking Dead comes back. So if you watch the television show, we do an episode by episode podcast each week. And if you are familiar with our podcast, we're going to have Matt on there in some way, shape, or form. I can't promise whether or not he'll be in the studio. I don't know, but we will have Matt on the podcast at some point. If you're new to the channel, Matt's somebody that we used to podcast with a lot. But somebody asked where was Matt the other day too, and there are no issues or anything. Matt is on a different schedule than we are. Matt, like myself, also lives like 30 minutes away from where we do these, so just simply coming in super early to record this, then going home, waiting for your shift to start, and then coming back is not that fun of an idea. So that's why we still
we should get him a blow up mattress. That way you can just
live here, right?
Yeah,
live for the podcast, Matt. If you want to be in this, you have to live for it.
That's right.
But yeah, so we look forward to. I don't know if we've got anything else to podcast about between now and then, but if it pops up, we will.
Yeah, I can't really do a pull list podcast because I haven't picked up my comics yet, and I'm a little bit behind on a lot of stuff. Got a lot of reading in front of me.
Speaking of which, again, man, Heroes in Crisis. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't got to read that either. I know
Heroes in
like
Crisis was that was last week's.
Oh, was it last week?
Yeah, it was last week's. I got it late, but Heroes in Crisis. Wow, it's Tom King though. I'm a big fan of Tom King's writing. I've really enjoyed his writing. Well, no, I haven't read. The only thing I've read of his is Batman, but I've been reading that for like 2-3 years, so I've really enjoyed it. But we will catch you at the minimum Monday. Minimum, is that the right word?
Why not?
I'll catch you. We'll at least catch you by Monday if something doesn't pop up between now and then. I'm Justin.
Yeah, and I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.
Yeah.